Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we're going to have a look at the latest GFS ensembles, and then we'll have a look at precipitation charts, CAPE charts, and the Met Office warnings, as we do have some very intense thunderstorms and quite widespread thunderstorms as well coming in the next few days. So you really need to keep up to date and stay tuned. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe. And do remember to follow me on Twitter as well. I'll be quite active over the next few days looking at how those thunderstorms are developing as they head into the south of England and spread northwards. So firstly, we'll have a look at the latest GFS. So we'll run through that quickly to give the sort of long-term outlook, and then we'll look at the more short-range precipitation charts. So if we run through the next few days, you can see we've got this low pressure system which is sweeping in across the country at the moment, and it's bringing some cooler air to north-western areas. But it's also squeezing the isobars, bringing up southerly winds, and this small little this small little trough of low pressure within the very hot and humid air will be bringing warm air, humid air, and those thunderstorms that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. Now, beyond that low pressure does sweep through, and then we do see another low head in. And if you checked out my video earlier today where I looked at the latest tropical outlook, you'll see that this is actually going to be the remnants of Tropical Storm Bill, which is heading through Newfoundland in the next sort of day or so. And you can see it heading with quite hot, humid air coming in off the Atlantic, diving to the south, and it's going to be spiraling around the UK. Now, it's not going to be having any tropical storm characteristics to it once it reaches the UK, but it just shows you how these tropical storms developing in the North Atlantic can impact the UK. And this one sits across the UK as a little trough to the south, spiraling up showers and bands of rain. Beyond that low just really sits there, but it does start to fill in a little bit before intensifying as some hot and humid air fuels it. And we really just sit in this trough. And although upper air temperatures are quite high, which means temperatures where we don't see cloud and rain will be reasonably mild, if not warm, there will still be cloud, rain, thunderstorms around, which will make weather forecasting very difficult. I mean, some days will be absolute washouts, where some areas unfortunately see many showers. Other days you may get quite clear days. So we have to really keep an eye on that when it comes into the shorter range. As we head into the long range forecast towards 384 hours, you can see generally it's sort of a mixed pattern, with low pressure trying to build in, but then high pressure coming in up from the south. So we just have to have a look at the longer range stuff once we get past these thunderstorms in the imminent future. If we do have a look at the GFS ensembles briefly, you can see the big rainfall spikes over the next few days, symbolic of some intense thunderstorms and intense bands of rain as well, that could be providing some very large surface water amounts. So we could be seeing some surface flooding. You can see one ensemble member going up to maybe 40 millimetres of rain towards Friday, where we're going to see another band of thunderstorms move in. Now you can look at the temperatures. You can see they do have on a slow decline as the thunderstorms move through. Inevitably, they are going to symbolise a thundery breakdown as some cooler air does dig in behind it. But you can see towards sort of early next week or next weekend or the weekend coming, and then into the following week, you can see there are hints that we could be seeing a very warm sector of air building in from the southeast. Now, it does look like it's just going to be clipping the southeast, maybe getting into the London area as well, and it's because of that low pressure system, ex-tropical storm Bill, which won't be Bill anymore, but it'll be in a small area of low pressure centred to the south of the UK, which will be driving in those southeasterly winds, and in the right orientation can pick up some very hot and humid air and throw it towards the UK. And that's why we're seeing some of these very warm ensemble members, which would give widespread 30 degrees and up. It will also be accompanied by heavy rain and thunderstorms as well at times, as hot, humid air with low pressure is going to equal only one thing. Beyond that, you do see there are still some precipitation spikes, but nothing too intense, so it does mean there is a bit more uncertainty over where low pressure or high pressure will be dominant, and you can see temperatures are around average, but really there's just a lot of scatter, so it's very difficult to say at this stage. So if we now have a look at what's going to be the very interesting weather events over the next few days, are these thunderstorms. So if we do run through the precipitation charts, now the first round of thunderstorms looking like tomorrow evening and afternoon. You see thunderstorms develop over northern France, so initially the convection place in northern France where we do have the increased Cape, and then they head into southeast England. You can see now on this latest GFS, a couple, or at least some of the initial storms, more Kent Clippers, and then we do see some other storms develop in central and even some western areas through early Thursday morning. So GFS, again, it's not particularly high resolution, so it's very difficult to say how much of this will be thunderstorms, how much of it will just be rain. But you can see general area is probably most likely in the east. But again, as you can see, you can't rule out some western areas, West Midlands, parts of southwest, and parts of Wales, and even northwest England, seeing some thunderstorms and at least some heavy rain. Beyond that, the next time to watch out for is into Friday. See some intense thunderstorms in northern France, moving northwards, and then we've got to keep an eye on the east, where we do see some intense rainfall spreading up from the southeast, heading through, and then eventually it does look like it will calm down a little bit before Saturday night. We do see another band of heavy thunderstorms moving in. And then we go into a very unsettled spell with more thunderstorms spiraling around. So could be seeing some very intense conditions there. Again, GFS and GM are both low resolution, so it's difficult to make exact locations out without exact intensities, but it does show you the general pattern of or where at least rain bands will be. So if we run through the GM, you see those thunderstorms develop overnight Wednesday, but don't make too much of them initially. Before the main bulk of them head through more Thursday morning into lunchtime. And again, it's showing there's going to be maybe a core towards sort of northwestern areas or West Midlands. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head to the shorter range models as well. But again, more widespread rain and thunderstorms with that. You can see again more heavy thunderstorms in France, and again, those are going to be very difficult to predict exact wind directions where they're going to move. The wind direction just veers northwards instead of northeast. Some of these storms could be hitting parts of Kent, parts of East Anglia, or even southern England as well. So we just have to keep an eye in sort of the nowcast situation to see how that could evolve. However, through Friday, you see some more heavy rain. It does look like the most intense showers and thunderstorms is offshore, but again, low resolution on the GM, so it's difficult to say for certain exactly how that developed. And then we see more rain spread through on Sunday. If we now have a look at the icon, which is a more high resolution model, so it should forecast this a little bit better. We can see rain band in the northwest decaying, and then we see those thunderstorms in the south really develop and ramp up, and the icon showing the core of the storms heading through sort of East Midlands, London area into East Anglia, not showing too many storms in the west, so that's interesting to see on the icon run. Again, maybe a few showers and storms behind that, and maybe some more heavier rain over a wider area, but it does look like the most intense sort of rain with the storms and the lightning activity is most likely to be where this sort of yellow zone is in East Anglia. Beyond that, as we do Thursday generally in the afternoon does look like it's going to be a fairly pleasant day, before we do see more thunderstorms head up. Initially look like they're going to be clipping eastern England before really intensifying, and widespread heavy thunderstorms again, central southern areas, even into spreading into southwestern areas perhaps. Eastern areas really going to get whacked by these storms, heading through northeastern areas before slowly decaying away, and then again more thunderstorms can come through on Sunday. Interesting to see what the precipitation accumulation will be. So if we do head through the Thursday initial storms, you see a very narrow band of perhaps 2 inches of rain, 50 miles either side, only sort of 6 to 12 millimetres. So a very intense line of storms potentially there, heading through the London area. Beyond that, as we head through Friday, a more wide area of rain. We could be seeing in the London area 100 millimetres of rain potentially, or at least to the north of London, which is intense amounts of rain. That would be probably, I think for June, that probably would be sort of a total month's worth of rain, if not more, falling in 2 days. That's 4 inches of rain, and that is sort of extreme amounts of rain. I would expect quite widespread surface flooding with that. So we really have to keep an eye on those rainfall totals. Again, it really does depend on where the core of the storms do move through. And again, that can shift subtly from now until then. So we're going to have to really just keep an eye on how these storms do develop. If we do have a look at the UK Met Office run, so again, this is an even shorter range model than the Icon, and or it's a more high resolution model, let's say. And it's the main model the UK Met Office uses for their app, their forecasts, and this is what some of all the Met Office warnings. This is one of the main models that it's based on. So if we do run through tomorrow, you can see a few showers in the west, perhaps through Wednesday afternoon, and then you see the thunderstorms really develop, and you can see there is initially a core of storms that head through in western areas. So that's what the GM and GFS was showing. But as we head through early Thursday morning, the core of those storms does shift a bit further eastwards. We potentially see some more pulse storms, so more localised cells developing on the northern and eastern edge of this rain band, and then heavier rain, perhaps with embedded thunderstorms for central and parts of West Midlands. So UK Met Office run is showing this rain band maybe 50 miles further westwards. So again, still a little bit of uncertainty exactly where this sort of core of storms is going to head through. So just going to have to keep an eye on that as we head through tomorrow and see how it does develop. And then Thursday afternoon is generally quite pleasant, and then we do see more thunderstorms potentially heading up through Friday evening before decaying, and then we see another line of heavy thunderstorms developing over the top of the UK through Friday afternoon, heading up initially pulse storms and combining into a line of showers and storms, heading northwards before slowly decaying into just an area of rain as it heads through northern England. So very interesting to see that develop, and that could provide some very intense conditions. They're sort of homegrown storms, could give an intense amount of rain where they develop, and you see initially it's just a band of rain turning heavier with some convection behind it, and then it really bands together. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, and again there could be some more storms through Sunday. Again, I wouldn't look at those in too much detail as they are quite far away, at least for sort of storm forecasting. If we do now have a look at the Euro 4 model, which has only just come into sort of time frame for the UK. So we do have a look at the precipitation. Again, this is a high resolution model, so it should forecast this reasonably well. So as we head through Wednesday, generally not too much, and then those thunderstorms popping off Wednesday evening, heading northwards. The Euro 4 does show them decaying as they head through East Anglia, and then we do see another line of storms through Thursday morning, heading into Thursday afternoon. So very interesting to see that. So a little bit more delayed there on the Euro 4 model, so showing a little bit different there, but it really just depends on when that instability does move in. But yeah, showing again widespread storms. So my advice probably for this event over the next few days is just keep an eye on the radar. Everything's going to generally be moving north to south, south to north, maybe south to moving maybe northeastwards a little bit as well. So if you wanted to do anything outside, I'd advise look at the radar, either Weather Channel or the Met Office radar on the apps, and just look southwards, and if you see some red thunderstorms heading your way, looking like they're going to be impacting you in the next couple of hours, I would hold back on whatever your plans are, because these things really can change very drastically in the short range, as you can see by these models, all showing similar pattern, but all with subtly different timings, perhaps a few hours out, and showing different bands, maybe 50 miles east or west. So it's really gonna be difficult to forecast exactly where these storms do pop up, as ever it is with these thunderstorms in this country. If we do have a look at the WRF, we'll have a look at the Cape first, and then we'll have a look at the precipitation. So if we head through to Wednesday afternoon, you see some Cape starts to build in East Anglia and towards northern France. So it does mean there's the potential for some big storms developing in northern France and sort of being shipped over into the UK. And Cape does develop overnight in Wednesday in the southeast. So that's potentially where we do see the electricity in the storms. Elsewhere, we can still see some heavy rain, still see the isolated lightning strike, but you really do need some quite significant Cape to get the sort of frequent lightning that we would classify with like a classic summer storm. Beyond that, the Cape does diminish through early Thursday morning, before picking up again by Thursday afternoon in the east, and then through Friday does diminish once again, and generally Cape is reasonably low after that. Oh, it doesn't look like this is fully... Oh, no, there we go. Yeah, Cape does look generally low after that as we head through Friday. So we're really going to have to keep an eye on this. Again, subtle changes can bring some of this darker Cape into the UK. So again, very difficult predicting with this, but it does look like generally those eastern areas and southeastern areas is where the Cape's going to be. So that's where I think the most intense storms will likely to be, and the most likely chances of quite electric storms as well. So if we do finally have a look at precipitation from the WRF, if we run through to Wednesday evening, you see those storms developing in northern France, heading northwards, and generally in eastern areas where we could see the heaviest thunderstorms in the southeast parts of Kent, and then we could be seeing some more widespread rain and potentially a few storms further westwards, but it doesn't look like on this WRF run being too intense, apart from perhaps in the east. Beyond that, through Thursday, again, maybe a few showers, and then heading into the southeast, we do see some more heavy rain and potentially thunderstorms moving in. But generally, the WRF does look like it's more towards the low intensity range of these high resolution models, showing less Cape and higher chances of just steady to heavy rain instead of heavy thunderstorms. So it's really going to be we're really just going to have to keep an eye on the radar and the models tomorrow afternoon. But in my video tomorrow evening, we should have a decent idea, as the storms will probably have developed in northern France, so we'll probably be able to have a look at what's going to be heading our way. So make sure you do stay tuned for the video tomorrow. Finally, we'll have a look at the UK Met Office warnings, as it has been updated. Through Wednesday and Thursday, we still have that yellow warning spreading for most of England, apart from southwestern parts, including parts of Wales as well, but excluding parts of southwestern parts and parts of the north, east and northwest. However, through Friday, that thunderstorm warning has been changed and been shrunk generally to central and eastern areas, and has been extended to Saturday as well. So if we do have a look at this, we can see another spell of thundery rain is expected to push north across England. So you can see the Met Office using thundery rain. So what they're implying is a larger mass of rain with some embedded thunderstorms within it. So not everywhere is going to see thunderstorms. Even on these models where you have seen rain and seen some quite heavy rain, not all of that is going to be thunderstorms, just simply because it will either be a decaying thunderstorm, as you can only get so many thunderstorms forming at one time, because there has to be inflows and downdrafts as well. So it does look like that there will be some areas that will just get rain over the next few days, but some areas could get some quite intense thunderstorms as well. So it'll push northwards across England and East Wales through early morning on Friday. There is some uncertainty in storm coverage, of course, and particularly western extent, but where they do develop torrential rain, intense thunderstorms, hail and frequent lightning are possible, 20 to 40 millimetres and perhaps 60 millimetres in 12 hours, or even 30 to 40 millimetres could fall in an hour or two. The storm should clear into the North Sea during Saturday morning. And you can see with both, we checked out the Wednesday-Thursday warning yesterday, but you can see with both of these warnings in the warning impact matrix, they are high impact and quite low likelihood. So there's very big uncertainty on how widespread they're going to be, their exact location. But for one thing that is certain, if they do form and wherever they do hit, it's likely to be pretty high impact. So we'll have to really keep an eye on that radar over the next few days. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video tomorrow.